Awesome. Okay, looks like Facebook is working. Hi, everyone. We're live. Perfect. Okay, we're good. Hi, Charlotte. Nice to meet
Hi.
you.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Yes, we're so excited to chat with you today. Hi, everyone. I'm Christine. I'm your host for our Scenes Live Session podcast here at Music and Culture, and we're super excited to chat with Charlotte Morris today. She's a Nashville-based singer-songwriter who has a really unique blend of folk, pop, and rock throughout her music and her vocals. She started violin lessons at the age of 4, and then she self-taught herself guitar, piano, ukulele, banjo, acoustic, bass guitar, and mandolin. And then I think, Charlotte, I read that you wrote your first song at the age of 12. So you really started taking that seriously at 12. Is that right?
Yeah, or I think like I get that asked that question a lot. And so like I think it was like around 12. Like I
Okay.
remember
Yeah.
the act of being like, I want to try to write a song. And I think it was around 12, maybe 13, but yeah.
Although that age range is always a little fuzzy. You're like 11, 12,
Exactly.
13. Yeah. I love that. That's so cool. A lot of the people I interview oftentimes have that same story where they initially discover music at the age of 4 or 5. And my niece and nephew are 4 right now. And I just see how music lights them up and they love singing and playing the drums. And I'm like, that is so cool that at such a young age, you can really just explore. And that's your playground. And then you continue to evolve and make that your craft as you get older.
Yeah, I feel like especially as like a kid that young, if music is something you're drawn to, I feel like it's really easy to get like absolutely hooked because you like don't really have communication skills yet when you're
Yeah.
that young.
True.
But like music is in my mind is a way to communicate emotions. It's a way to like tell a story, whether there's lyrics or not. Like,
Yep.
and I feel like for me, violin, I studied classically for the majority of my childhood, and
Wow.
um, you know, that was an outlet for me to express myself
Yep.
even without words.
Yes, true. At that young age, you're not sure really how to express yourself, what you're feeling, and then you can have that express it through music. That's
Yeah.
beautiful. Now, before we dive in, Charlotte, I do want to share with the audience here our sponsor for today is Pharaoh Skincare. Let me see if I can. This is always fuzzy here, but if you can kind of see it, it's our a skincare lard-based company. I've been using it for the past 2 months now, and I absolutely love how it leaves my skin hydrated, really smooth. And lard is basically rendered pig fat. I know it sounds super weird and just a little odd, but it's really hydrating for your skin and gentle on your skin. It doesn't smell like lard. It has this delicious essential oil smell. I think they use sandalwood and lavender for this one. And they source all of their lard from regenerative farms. I believe around where you are, Charlotte. They're based out of Tennessee. Yeah, so I love that they use regenerative farms. They use locally sourced lard, and the animals where they're sourcing the meat from or their lard from is probably they play an integral role in the land, healing the planet, but also keeping our skin healthy and hydrated. So check them out. I'll leave the link here. You get 15% off all products at pharaoh.life/scenes. Okay, so let's dive in, Charlotte. I want to know more about you. Tell us about yourself, your work, a little bit about your music journey and your recent album, Wild Child. I've been listening to it.
Yeah. So I guess starting backwards, the album Wild Child, it came out this past Friday. So it's now been in the world for about 4 days, 4 or 5 days. And I'm so happy that it's finally out because it's been in process for about 2 years now in terms of actually like going into the studio, getting everything done, going through mixes, going through masters of it, and then really like hammering into promoting it this summer leading up to this past Friday. So it's just like a huge, honestly, like weight off of me, and I'm so happy it's out there. But a lot of the I've kind of been describing it as a pretty apt look into my life for the last like 5 to 6 years. All of the songs that I write are autobiographical, but this album in particular has a lot of songs that I would consider to be some of my most personal and vulnerable songs to date.
Wow.
I'm sure more will come, but there's a lot of vulnerability in this album. So it was a little bit scary, but also really cathartic to go through the process.
Wow, I love that. That's I don't know, when you really know that you're honing in on your skill and your craft and touching people's hearts in a certain way when you're vulnerable yourself, because being open, like that's how we grow together. And
Absolutely.
sometimes you're like, I don't know if this is right to put out, but you don't know how you're going to touch that person, whoever's listening to it and seeing your music.
Yeah. There's
Yeah. And
actually one of the songs on it is the one I think I was most scared to release. And it's a song I wrote. I had a friend from college pass away unexpectedly in 2020. And she was obviously very young. And I I could go on and on about like grief and like my experiences with grief and kind of how that has played out. But a lot of my processing of emotions is through writing, and so there have been a lot of attempts at me to try, like me trying to write songs about her or about that experience, and nothing has been perfect in my mind. But this song, the day we lost you, is kind of like as close
Mhm.
as I feel like I'm gonna get at this moment. But I
Wow.
was really scared to release it because it doesn't feel perfect to me. Like, it doesn't feel like this is exactly what I mean to say. Like,
Mhm.
it feels like it's only part of it. And I also had a lot of friends who also went through the same thing,
Wow.
losing her. And I was like, what if they hate it? Like, what if they didn't have the same experience? Like, there was lots of nerves there. And then I played it for the very first time out live for my release concert, and a woman came up to me and was like, this is the song that my mom needs to hear. Like, she just lost her mother, and like, this is the song that she needs to hear. And that alone makes it worth it, even if it doesn't feel 100% to me.
Yes, 100%. I'm a writer myself, and I know what you mean. Sometimes you're like, this is so scary to put out. I don't know what kind of reaction I'll get. But even if it's just one person that tells you, I needed to read that, I need to see that, it caused this, this, and that in my life, that's when you know you're making a difference, even if it's just that one person, you know? And that's also the artist's struggle about never knowing if it's perfect or right. But that's part of the journey of life. Being an artist is putting it out there, and maybe it's a rendition of it, and in the future it'll evolve, and maybe you put something else out on her, you know, but that's what it needed to go out like now.
Yeah.
And you made it, and you created it, and then that's the beauty of it. It's unique to you and your personal experience with her.
Yeah.
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 Your soul rest in peace. Oh man, I'm so sorry. That's
Thank
really
you.
hard, especially when it's a dear friend. I also saw on your Instagram, Charlotte, what your post kind of about Wild Child. You were sharing and just relating how, you know, the nomad lifestyle. I can really relate to you having similar style lifestyle, just kind of going where the wind blows you for the past 7 years. That's basically been my life. But there's also this urge once you get to a certain point in your life of like wanting to really settle down and like grow roots, and it sounds like that's kind of how Wild Child was inspired a bit and
Yeah.
transpired where you are now in Nashville. Is that correct?
Yeah, absolutely. Nashville is the first place I felt like I've actually started to like put down roots, and like find some stability and some like routine, like some consistency. Because yeah, before I lived here, I was in New York City, and I have a great community in New York. A lot of my friends, from all different parts of my life are in New York, and so I had that aspect of it. But I was constantly out of the city on different jobs, gigs, like hopping around state to state and job to job. And it never felt like home, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And then I moved down to Nashville, and it actually felt like someplace I could like breathe a little bit and be settled more, which has been amazing, but also really scary because I like being on the move. Like, I like traveling. I like kind of not necessarily knowing what comes next while still like having a grasp on that, like on, the steering wheel. Um, and so it's kind of been contradicting thoughts in my mind of like, wow, I need to run. And also like, no,
Yeah.
stay put. This is actually really good for you.
I love that. I saw that what you said. It's like sometimes you have to just stay and go the, like, you know, run the grind and just see what comes of that. And that's
Yeah.
who you are in your life now. That's
Yeah.
beautiful. I want to cut to your clip here that was sent over. Good. Let's see. It's called Good Kind of Hurt. and we'll watch a minute of it so we can see Charlotte's beautiful voice and then come back to close out.
Perfect.
Sound good? Let's see, hopefully it plays. I see a black screen. What about you,
I also see a black screen.
Oh no. Okay, let's try it again. I might just take it off and put it back in. This hasn't happened to me yet. StreamYard works pretty good with the video.
Yes.
But let's see what's going on.
I can give a little, I was gonna say, while you play around with that, I can give a little background on the.
Yeah, give a little background.
Yeah. So Good Kind of Hurt is another song off of the album. And this is another really personal one for me. It's about addiction and PTSD and kind of how those two go hand in hand a lot. My stepfather is a veteran and has struggled with PTSD for, since coming back. And he is also an alcoholic, which is a big part of triggered from that PTSD. And he's now been sober for almost 9 years, which is amazing. But he's put in so much work, and he still puts in so much work every single day. And Good Kind of Hurt kind of came out of watching him on that journey, watching my mom on that journey, supporting him. And it's a song that means a lot to me. And I hope it speaks to a lot of people as well, because I think addiction and PTSD are two mental illnesses that aren't talked about enough, in my opinion, but so many people struggle with them. So that's where Good Kind of Hurt came from. And we filmed a beautiful video for it. So hopefully we can get it up.
I saw the video, and it is beautiful, and it's a vulnerable topic. Again, it's a hard topic to talk about. And I love that this is one of the things that I love musicians like you, that they really dive into the struggle, the strife, the just what you're going through, because there's so many people going through the same thing, but they don't necessarily know how to express it. And one beautiful way to do that is through music, through art, through film, like putting a video together like this. So it's loading. Okay, perfect. We got it in StreamYard now. There we go. Can you see it?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, great. Okay.
You roll the dice just one too many times. You pour a drink that turns into your night. You're always down to take the extra jump. That thin white line you cross is just a bump. And you say it doesn't change who you are. You say you never take it too far, but it's that good kind of hurt. The whiskey when it burns, the cigarette smoke when it's tickling your nose. That good kind of hurt won't make you realize that you've only got one life to live. And I can't watch you give it up for that good kind of hurt. That good kind of hurt. You push the limits, watch if you will fall.
It's beautiful, Charlotte.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing this. It's a hard topic, and we can't ever think enough. And just have that gratitude for our veterans for everything they went through and come back and never really quite know how they're feeling and how they're trying to reintegrate themselves back into life through the struggles of addiction. So thank you for putting that together and writing that.
Yeah. I'm glad I prefaced it a little bit before we started playing, because I kind of forgot about the beginning part of it. And it can be I think it could probably be a little bit triggering.
Yeah.
So
I'm glad too that you got to say that little preface at the beginning as well. It's meant to be. It's a hard topic, but a beautiful one. Like you said, sometimes you got to put the work out there, and you're going to touch the right people who need to hear that and see that.
Yeah.
Charlotte, we have a question here from the audience. And then we'll wrap up quickly. But here we have somebody saying autodidactic musicians are fascinating. I would love to know what she recommends for someone who wants to try.
Oh man. Yeah. I mean, I think depending on like when you're starting in life, I will say it's definitely easier, just like learning a language, I think, to kind of like start as a kid. But I think that getting into different instruments and kind of finding a genre of instrument, if that makes sense, is really helpful in then like learning the other instruments. So for me, almost all the instruments that I play, obviously aside from like singing, are string instruments, and a lot of what you learn on one translates to another. So like guitar and ukulele, like they're different strings, but they pretty much go hand in hand. Like if you can play guitar, you can almost certainly pick up ukulele. You just have to remember the different chord structures. And same thing with like violin and mandolin. They're very different instruments in terms of their sound. And obviously you bow a violin, you strum or pick a mandolin, but the strings are actually the same. They're like the same order across the instrument. And so anything that I would like finger on the violin, I would do it the same way on the mandolin. I would just be strumming or picking as opposed to bowing it. So I think finding those similarities across the instruments or across whatever it is that you're working on really helps to, tie in building onto that.
Wow.
I hope that answers the question. I don't know.
Skill, self-taught, and learning different instruments and seeing how they're similar in their own way, but also unique. That's beautiful. Yeah, definitely answered it. Well, thank you, Charlotte. This was super insightful. I loved hearing your music, showing the audience more about your work and Wild Child. Tell us where people can find you, support your work.
Yeah, the easiest way is to go to charlottemorrismusic.com, and that has anything that you would need. That'll link to my Spotify, my Apple Music, my socials. It'll have all of my live dates on it. It has my merch site on there. So truly charlottemorrismusic.com is kind of like the catch-all. But if you're on Instagram or Facebook or any of those social sites, you can also go to Charlotte Morris Music as the handle and find my pages there.
Perfect. I just posted those here in the chat, your website and your Shopify.
Great.
And we loved chatting with you, Charlotte. This was amazing.
Thank you for having me.
Part of your journey, of course. And then make sure to also subscribe to our Substack, Music and Culture, where you'll find more upcoming shows, updates, new music trends, and its impact on culture. And our next live session will actually be tomorrow. So we have a beautiful opportunity to do 2 in a week. So ours is tomorrow with Octavio Stokoff at 11. He's a Latino country artist, so we'll be kicking off Hispanic Heritage Month with him.
Cool.
So yeah, put the Substack in our chat, and thank you, Charlotte. This was great.
Nice. Thank you.
Everybody, go ahead and follow her journey and go check out Wild Child. Take care. And